Good morning, everyone. It is
Good
Wednesday,
morning.
I think. We're doing a mat workout this morning for sure. And we're going to start lying down. Before you get settled in, you probably want to make sure you have all the goodies. Our standard list of props, something for the inner thighs to activate that chain. Probably something to rest your head on, maybe a pillow to sit on, and weights if you like to use weights for any of our arm work. So I'll give you a moment to gather that. If you're not live, of course, you can pause the video and go grab your stuff and then restart. And then we'll lie on our mats. So I'm sitting up just so I can see what you guys are up to. But you're going to lie down. You can certainly have a pillow under your head. And you can have legs straight or knees bent, your choice. You want to rest in the most comfortable position possible on the ground. And just start your breathing here. Should say start your conscious breathing. You've been breathing all along, and I encourage you to continue to feel the naturalness of that process. We'll inhale, allowing the chest to gently open and the belly to gently move outward as you breathe in. And then on the exhale, of course, those things reverse. You'll feel the belly dropping inward initially as the breath begins to leave, and then the chest softening and spreading wide. Inhale and exhale. And even before we start our core connection, and be aware of how the breath feels to you this morning. So the texture of it, the length of it, how relaxed that process is. We'll start to impose a little bit more of a pattern on the breathing now. Very simple. We'll inhale through the nose. And when the lungs are full, gently round the lips like you're about to whistle or blow out a candle, and then exhale through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose. Gently rounding the lips, exhale through the mouth. All right. Little by little, we'll add more and more to our breathing pattern. I'm going to give you some very specific directions for the breath. And when you inhale through the nose, take the breath into the bottom of the side ribs, allowing them to gently expand outward side to side. And when you exhale, take the breath upward through the crown. With the action of the respiratory diaphragm, you inhale. Sides of the bottom ribs expanding outward as the breath is drawn down like a plunger, pulling that breath down, or a piston. And then releasing that diaphragm, exhale, breath floats upward. All right, you can begin to think of this a little bit like a bowstring. The inhale, pulling that bowstring down or back. And then add your kegel, the exhale, supporting the base of that breath as you release it upward through the crown. Without all the imagery, inhale, breath comes down and fills the bottom of your sides, ribs, sides. And then kegel and exhale, the breath moves upward toward the crown. We're breathing here for about a minute more. Keep that directionality of the breath and find consistency, a stability through the pelvic floor connection. You know, of course, that you want to feel that that pelvic floor connection is present during the inhale as well. It actually forms an anchoring point for the action of the diaphragm as it draws downward. And it helps us breathe from our center rather than from our chest and neck. One more breath in and out. And then please bend your knees if they're straight and move your head around a little bit. So this is pretty informal. You can just, with the head resting on the mat, nod at yes or turn no. Move your shoulders. And then having re-relaxed the neck and the shoulders with your knees bent and in a neutral posture, we'll begin imprint and release. So our first spinal movement, inhale through the nose, Kegel, begin your exhale the same way you just were, and then about halfway through, begin to imprint, drawing the low spine down toward the mat with your low abdominal muscles. Stay in imprint and inhale fully. On your next exhale, you begin the same way with awareness of your Kegel, with the breath flowing upward. And as that exhale continues, allow the low spine to return to neutral. So lumbar curve is present. In neutral, inhale. With your Kegel, exhale, breath traveling upward. And the movement chases the breath as you imprint once more. Contracting through the low abdominal wall, draw it inward, hold imprint as you inhale. With your Kegel, with your exhale, slowly release to neutral, pardon me, preserving core as we alternately contract and release low abs. Do this 2 more times. Prepare with inhale, Kegel, exhale, and imprint. Relax the back of your neck. Sometimes that gets a little tight as we move the lower spine. You're inhaling an imprint before releasing to neutral on exhale. 1 more, please. Prepare. Exhale. Imprint, releasing tension from all levels of the spine, allowing that movement. Hold here, maintaining lower ab connection, maintaining core. And then release to neutral. Stretch just 1 leg down the mat. So you're still lying on your back. You have 1 leg stretched along the ground. The other knee is bent. Neutral posture. On your inhale breath, drop the bent knee across the midline toward the other leg and slide that bent leg down until it's straight as well. At the bottom, turn it outward so the toes are facing away from the other foot. And then exhale, bend the knee again, drawing the heel up underneath the hip. Inhale, knee drops across the midline, leg stretches. Exhale, turning outward, knee bends. Inhale, across and down. Exhale, rotate externally, bend and return. And do 1 more. And so this should feel nice and soothing for the hip. Don't force. When you finish this one, we reverse. We'll inhale, drop the knee out to the side and stretch the leg down, same leg. And exhale, roll medially before bending the knee and pulling it back up. Inhale, drop the knee away, slide down. We've got it. Exhale, roll inward and draw the heel up. Now, as you do your last 2 on this side, when you get to the point of bending the working leg, feel that action coming from the hamstrings. Hamstrings bend the knee, right? When you finish your last one, have both knees bent and both feet solidly on the floor. In that position, exhale and imprint once more, just refreshing that lower ab connection as well as that core connection. Inhale, hold. As you exhale and return to neutral, low back, neutral posture, extend the other leg down the mat, and we switch our working leg. The bent knee on the inhale will drop across toward the other leg and slide down, medially rotated. And then on the exhale, you rotate externally, bend the knee, and realign in parallel. We have 4 total repetitions. We practice it a lot of times on that first side, so the motion should feel less confusing, maybe the breath a little bit more natural. 1 more in this direction, probably. And then working with the same leg, we reverse the direction of the circling. When you're ready for that, inhale, knee drops away from the midline. Leg slides down underneath the hip. Exhale, thigh rolls medially and the knee bends as you come back up. 4 total, please. Last couple. When you finished your last one, again, bend both knees. Now at this point, you can place something between the knees or the inner thighs just to assist with that feeling of integration down into the lower body. Inner thighs, of course, relate directly to pelvic floor, which is your foundation for core. So that whole harmonious working together is a nice way to establish core in your center rather than up in your neck. Okay, once you've done that, I'd like you to exhale and imprint once more. We've got imprint. We've got that something between the knees, or if you're not, you can actually exhale and squeeze the knees together. And we practice the co-contraction, that harmonious connection of inner thighs to pelvic floor to lower abs. Keeping imprint, each time you exhale, use the inner thighs to pull the knees toward each other, either against the sides of the block or against each other. Inhale, you can let that inner thigh work subside just a little bit. And for 3 more exhales, repeat the connection through inner thighs. Now, if you're careful with this and don't use the outer hips or the lower back, as the knees come together, most likely you'll feel, without even trying, a co-contraction or a building intensification in the low belly. When you've done your last one, soften the inner thigh connection, but don't drop the block. Do allow the knees to separate if you're just pressing them together. And on an exhale, return to neutral. Feel that continuing awareness of the pelvic bowl. And with or without the weights, extend your arms forward to the ceiling. We're going to start to move through the arms and the shoulders, and we don't want that movement to distract our centeredness or distract from our foundation in our core. So with the arms extended forward to the ceiling, weights or not, I'd like you to exhale and maybe lightly squeeze the block. This time we're in neutral. On your inhale breath, we're simply going to bend the elbows and let the hands drop back toward the shoulders. Before you straighten those elbows, begin your exhale with a Kegel with a squeeze of the block, and then apply the triceps to straighten the arms. Inhale, bend your elbows. With core connected, with neutral posture, exhale, extend the elbows. And so now we're contracting and then stretching the triceps 2 more times. After you've extended the arms the last time, so your elbows are straight, your triceps are still connected, we're going to open and close to the side a couple of times. On your inhale, allow the arms to stretch apart. Feel an opening across the chest that expands across the inner line of the elbows, the wrists, back into the hands. Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, return. Bring the arms forward of the shoulders without collapsing the chest backward into the neck or the spine. We'll inhale to open. Keep your Kegel, please, as you draw the breath down. And then exhale, squeezing the block, bring the arms forward. 3 more. And now the contraction is stretching across the chest and then moving through the front of the shoulder girdle as the arms move forward. Last couple of repetitions.
Sideways?
Yep. When you finish your 5th one, you'll have ended with the arms forward of the shoulders again, and we'll find another range of motion, finally. From here, on your inhale breath, reach the arms back by your ears. Keep your triceps engaged as you lift your arms. Kegel, squeeze the block, and exhale, arms return. Forward of the shoulders, pointing toward the ceiling. 5 total here. So a pretty generous shoulder warm-up. Inhaling to extend and exhaling to return to your starting point. We do our total of 5. After you've finished your last one, Leave the arms forward of the shoulders, vertical in space. And now, instead of moving the arms, we'll actually move our shoulders. It's the last thing we're doing here. We'll inhale and push the shoulders forward, separating the shoulder blades on the back. And then exhale, pull the shoulders back, drawing the shoulder blades toward each other or toward the spine. Do that 4 more times. So now, again, we're actually moving the shoulder, which is comprised of your shoulder blade and your collarbone as it sits on the foundation of the ribs. The arm is stable in the shoulder and the shoulder is moving around the rib cage. When you've done your last one, bring your arms down by your sides and release your weights. We're moving into hip rolls now, so a larger spinal movement where we come up to the shoulders. Either ditch your head mat or lower it down. And then rest your arms by your sides. And for this morning, let's try it with the palms facing upward. That'll put a little external rotation in the shoulders and maybe make it less likely that we're going to bear down through the front of the shoulders or the hands. Block can stay between the knees. We're in our neutral. Inhale right here. Feel your feet firmly in the ground. Kegel and exhale, make your imprint. We pause and imprint with this first one almost every time. Feel a deep, enduring contraction in your lower abs as well as connection in your core. And now exhale, push the feet down and begin rolling the spine up, a vertebra at a time. Pelvis rolling through the axis of the hips as each vertebra lifts successively until you're finally resting on your shoulders. Neutral spine here. Inhale, Kegel. Exhale and roll down, focusing on your center. Feeling work in the bottom of the feet and the back of the thighs. As the hips return to ground, begin to soften the glutes, soften the front of the hips, and allow a complete return to neutral. We do 2 more. Prepare on at the bottom with your inhale. Kegel, exhale, and roll it up, articulating through the spine. Hamstrings press down through the bottom of the feet. Abs bend the spine on the way up, and then you lengthen everything into your neutral line at the top. Feel the hips pulling away from the shoulders and the knees pulling away from the hips. Weight centered over the arches. Exhale, roll it down. And you've had so many cues at this point. I'm not going to really cue you through the last one. Please do 1 more repetition. And when you finish that last repetition, stretch your legs along the mat and just kind of shake them out a little bit. Good. All right. Return to bent knees, please. You can ditch the block or not. I'd like you to extend your arms down by your sides and be on your fingertips. So, right, if this is my floor and this is my hand, you're going to have a little bit of a cupping in the palm of the hand. The wrist and the elbow lifted away from the floor rather than resting flat down. So pressing a little bit with your weird fingers, spider fingers, open the chest and relax the spine between the shoulder blades and at the base of the neck. And then firm your triceps, firm the back and bottom of the shoulder blades and lift your fingertips from the ground, extending completely through the length of your hands. Inhale, shrug the shoulders upward. And exhale, unshrug the shoulders. Feel the whole shoulder assembly moving up as you inhale, your collarbones and your shoulder blades, and then moving down as you exhale. Feel that they can glide along the surface of the ribs and are adaptable to where the ribs go. We do 1 more up and down. Continuing into ab prep. The arms are stretching long. We'll be flexing forward from the upper spine. Keep the arms parallel to the floor throughout your movement. Inhale, nod your chin to your chest. Exhale, feel length moving upward from the pelvis, and then bend forward from the bottom of the ribs. Strong muscles at the bottom of the ribs, bending you forward. No tension at the back of the neck. Inhale and exhale to lower down. Nod the chin to the chest. And exhale, bend forward through the ribs, allowing both the collarbones and the shoulder blades to glide down as the position of the ribs changes. Inhale and exhale to lower. 2 more, please. Nodding the head and exhale, bending forward. Inhale here, arms parallel to the ground and stretching. And exhale, lower. 1 more. Once you're down, rest your arms by your sides and turn the head no, resting the head on the mat. Return the head to a centered position. Inhale in place. And on your exhale, pardon me, make an imprint. We're going to use our imprint to support our tabletop, but know that if the legs lifted is not so great for you this morning, you can keep your feet down and work in that modified position. We're all imprinted for sure. When you've got that imprint, now come up onto the tips of your toes. Push the floor down from the balls of the feet, the tips of the toes, and activate your arches and your calves. Feel that work in the lower legs. Keep it and exhale, float one leg up to tabletop. Tail reaches long, lower back drops to the mat, and you exhale with the second leg. Hands under the back of your head. Repeating ab prep, but this time with a little bit more structural support for the neck. We nod the chin to the chest. Exhale and bend forward. Inhale at the top and exhale to lower. Continuing here, inhale, nod the chin to the chest. Wait for that wave of support to travel upward on your exhale, and as it passes through the ribs, bend forward. Inhale at the top and exhale to lower. Please do 3 more. Maintaining the core as well as working the obliques, right? Very important here. Don't be tempted to pull your upper body forward with your arm strength. Curve the ribs and bend your upper body forward with your obliques. They come around the sides of your upper waist and contract downward or travel downward toward the pelvis. When you've done your last one, exhale, lower your head to the mat. From tabletop or in a tabletop if your feet happen to be on the ground, exhale, pull one knee in with both hands and stretch the other leg long. Your head is on the floor. Inhale, hold, and then exhale, begin to bend the other leg and stretch the new leg long as you hug the new knee in toward the chest. Another couple times, exhale to change the legs out. One knee bent, the other knee straight. And you'll end with the knees together. Holding on to those knees, check in with your imprint, and then reinforce the abdominal muscles. Scooping low abs in and maintaining the alignment of the ribs. Press legs back to tabletop. Arms rest by your sides, palms upward. Keeping the thigh bones vertical, on your inhale, begin to lightly contract the medial quads as you keep the knees together and stretch the legs upward, the feet. They don't have to get straight. Now exhale, bend the knees and feel the connection under the back of the thighs. Inhale, stretching the legs upward, contracting the quads. And exhale, bend the knees to perfect tabletop, engaging the hamstrings. We do 2 more. In all of this, we're imprinted. It's not a lot of work for the torso, right? The abdominal muscles above the low abs. We're just resting back. 1 more, please. Extending the legs upward. Now this time we keep the extension of the legs upward. Replace the hands behind the head, keeping the thigh bones vertical, keeping the imprint, nod the chin to the chest. When the exhale breath passes through the bottom of the ribs, bend forward. As you bend forward, you're going to bend the legs to tabletop. Inhale, extend the legs upward and lower the head back down. Exhale, bend the knees, pulling calves toward the back of your thighs as you bend forward from the mat. Inhale, lower down. 3rd time's charm. Exhale, bend the knees to tabletop, squeezing inner thighs, bending forward from the mat as you support the head and the hands. Keep 90 degrees at the knees, and on the next exhale breath, dip 1 foot down toward the mat. It doesn't have to touch. Inhale, hold, and exhale, bring it back up. Other side. Exhale, dip the other foot down. Stay and inhale. Exhale, pick the foot up. 1 more time across the sides, please. Exhaling to dip. Exhaling to pick that foot back up. Another side, all without losing connection into the lower ribs. When you've completed both sides, beautiful work, you guys. Squeeze your knees, point your toes, and exhale, lower your head. Hug your knees in, please. When you've done that, you can take any other stretch of your choice. We are going to put feet on the ground and hallelujah, let go of imprint and tabletop. 1 foot lowers at a time. So use good technique even as you come out of position. 2nd foot comes down. And when both feet are on the ground, release imprint. Good. Stretch up nice and long. And then roll over onto your side. You'll want some padding under the side of your head, maybe a pillow or a couple layers of blanket. We're going to move into twist, and we're going to try very hard to, it's spinal rotation, to keep our lower body quiet and still. And now return to the movement of the upper body, this time in rotation. All right. I like to stabilize legs with a block between the knees. You can try that out. You can have weights in the hands or not. And this stretch should feel really good for the sides of the waist. We use those muscles, those obliques, a lot in the previous series. So when your knees are bent, your hips and shoulders are stacked, your arms are in front, open the chest and exhale. Squeeze the block, have a little bit of a kegel going on. Keep that. And inhale, turn the head upward as you lift the arm. Exhale, rotate open. Top side of the ribs. spreading away from the bottom side of the ribs. Inhale, Kegel, squeeze the block. Exhale and return. Inhale, lift the arm and turn the head. And then exhale, open, spiraling across the shoulders, the chest, down the length of your ribs. Inhale here, Kegel. Exhale and return. 2 more of these. Breathing in to turn the head and lift the arm, and then exhale, opening across. When you get to the point of returning, try not to initiate or anticipate with shoulder tension. Instead, build upward from the bottom of the waist. Finishing off that 4th and final repetition now. Roll over to the other side, please. Set it up the same way. Support your head and have an exhale in place. Establish core connection internally. When you're ready to begin, inhale and lift the arm as you turn the head upward. Kegel, exhale, squeezing knees, open into twist, spreading across the chest. As you return from twist, use the lower part of your waist, the middle, the upper part of the waist, and then the shoulder returns. 4 total, please. All the big rotation and the return from rotation occurs on exhale. Good, you guys. Probably moving toward our last rotation. Continue to move at your own pace. It's one of the nice things about being able to see you. It will help me not to rush so much. So you shouldn't rush either. Good, you guys. When you've completed the last one in your set, put the block off to the side if you've got something between your knees. Roll over and stretch out long on your belly. We're gonna do breaststroke prep number 1. So we've got the elbows bent, the forearms on the mat, parallel to each other. We're gonna focus on the shoulder blades. We've just loosened up the ribs and we've really engaged and awakened the muscles in our midsection. And so we have good connection and support for the shoulder blades. You guys are lying prone. I'm turning away from you on purpose so you can see my shoulder blades. You guys are lying prone on your bellies with your legs stretched out below you, bottom of the hips forward onto the mat. Neutral spine. Engage through the legs, inner thighs, back of the thighs, back of the hamstrings and glutes, and point your toes. Inhale, open across the shoulder tops, and then exhale, contract the muscles at the bottom of the shoulder blades, moving them down the line of the ribs. Eventually, that action is going to reach the top of your chest forward and upward. Come up to the bottom of the rib cage with that middle back support. Inhale here and exhale to lower. So I've got my back to you one more time. What I'd like you to see is that when you extend, we're doing this on exhale, you don't want to crowd your neck to your shoulders and push through the chest. Instead, you want to spread the shoulders away from the neck and glide the bottom of the shoulder blades. And you'll find more tone in the middle back muscles down in here. Inhale and exhale, release. 2 more times, please. Preparing. Find that stretch of the legs, the connection through core, and exhale, glide the shoulder blades, strengthening the middle back. Inhale to lower. Of course, you're going to let those middle back muscles relax. And we do one more, please. Prepare with a breath in. Exhale, extend the upper spine. And then release down. Shifting gears a little bit to hip extension. We're going to stay on our bellies, and you can put your hands under your forehead if you like, or if there's a different position that's more comfortable for your shoulders to rest in, use that. Spine stays on the ground, and this is all about the glutes and the back of the thighs. Well, it's about inner thighs as well. Bring those inner thighs together as close as they come. Point your feet and stretch through your knees. You're going to feel those medial quads working along with inner thighs. Now release low back and visualize the space between the glutes and the hamstrings. We'll exhale and stretch and lift both legs, co-contracting glutes and hamstrings to lift the legs from the ground without lifting the pubic bones from the ground. Inhale, hold, and exhale, lower. 2 more times. Take a breath. Keep the knees stretched. And exhale, lift the legs. Glutes and hamstrings working together. And lower abs, helping to stabilize the pelvic position. Exhale, lower. 1 more, please. Lifting the legs. And exhale, lower. If your hands are not under your forehead, bring them there now. And we'll complete our final extension of the spine with breaststroke prep number 3. This is not as great of an extension as we began with. It's more of a hover, more of an opening and a freeing of the top of the shoulders and the neckline. Legs stay on the ground. You'll inhale here. Kegel. Exhale, stretch through the length of your legs. Move the bottom of the shoulder blades down the back. And let that action project the chest forward and upward, forward and upward. Hold your hover, inhale, and exhale to lower. 2 more times, please. Preparing with breath in. Begin your exhale. Before you begin the movement of the shoulder blades, feel your core engage, and then middle back helps lift the chest and shoulders. Hold, inhale. Exhale, same sequencing, core first, and then movement. Last time, please. Once you've lowered, slide back into a shell stretch. You can either sit on your heels, or if your knees are a little sore, you can sit on your hips, and we'll round forward here. Good, you guys. Holding the forward flexion, take the breath into the back and move your head around a little bit. Open and close your jaws. And any other movements you need to make the shoulders comfortable, go ahead and do. When you're ready to release this position, roll up on exhale. And we're going to sit up and do half roll back. Well, actually, we're going to do neck pull front prep, which is kind of like fancy half roll back with the hands again at the forehead. Yeah. You can sit on a chair. Right? If you're sitting on a chair, make sure that you don't have the back of it towards your back, because we are going to be moving in space. You can sit up on a bench or a stool. You can sit on a height off the floor, a pillow or blanket. You want to have the hips in a position where they're not gripped. You can articulate them because you want the hips, the pelvis, to be able to move as the low spine moves and vice versa. So here we go. Settle the hips so the sitting bones are on the ground. You can have the hands at the forehead or alternatively behind the ears if that feels better. We'll exhale and use imprint muscles to roll back, flexing the low spine, lengthening it, and then reversing its curve as we pull the pelvis away from the thighs with the low abs, tail sliding under the curve of the glutes, top of the head still vertical. Now we're going to bend the upper spine, and this begins at the ribs. Take a breath. Kegel, exhale, bend at the bottom of the ribs to project the chest forward. Head and shoulders, of course, are carried along as they ride on top of the ribs. When you're on your sitting bones, inhale, stack yourself up into vertical again, and we continue through the full exercise. Flexing the low spine on your initial exhale. Make sure you're not tightening the back of your neck as you use your imprint muscles. Take a breath here, and now flexing through the upper half of the spine, leading with the bottom of the ribs, allowing the rest of the rib cage to curve forward, carrying your shoulders and your head forward towards your knees before inhaling and stacking up. Please do 2 more. Exhale, roll back through the lower spine. Lower abs. Pause to inhale. Kegel and exhale. Now flexing forward using the upper abs. Rounding toward the knees. Before inhaling and stacking up over your sitting bones. 1 more time, please. All these different parts and pieces working in proper sequence. When you've rolled up, lower your arms. And then go ahead and sit for a moment. Now, I'd like to do roll down and roll up next. You don't have to do that full exercise if that's not where you're at this morning. You can continue through another set of 4 of what we just did. If you're going to do the full exercise, though, you'll need to get rid of whatever you're sitting on and sit on the ground. Stretch your legs out below you. We're going to stretch the arms out in front. You can use a block between your feet if you like. Stretch the arms forward, lightly retract the shoulder blades, and engage the triceps. As you engage the triceps, release the neck. Inhale, Kegel. Exhale, lower abs begin. Now that first exhale might take you all the way down to the mat, or you might only get halfway. If you get halfway and you run out of breath, take another one, and then exhale to lower entirely to the floor, or as close as you get. Once the head is down, reach the arms back. Inhale, nod the chin, bring the arms forward, and exhale, bend. Curving the forehead, the chest, the shoulders, all forward over the legs, and then inhale up. Please continue as you exhale and roll down at your lower abs. That initiate, everything works eventually. Once you're stretched out on the ground, you extend the shoulders, reaching the arms back. Then nod the head, and as you bend forward, it's the upper abs turn. Exactly the same as we did in our little warm-up exercise. Beautiful, guys. 2 more times, please. And again, we're trying to feel a sense of flow in the timing, not just of core to movement, but core to movement through the different levels of our spine, through the low abs and the hips, through the ribs and the shoulders, and vice versa. Once you've come up for that last time, pause, lower the arms, and move your head around, open, close your jaws. We got it. Extend the arms out to the side. And then bend them like you're a saguaro cactus. So we're going to do little rotations down and up through the arms. So I'll give you the side view. We'll be rotating the arm down, turning the arm bone in the shoulder, and then back up. And you'll notice that my elbow isn't all the way back by my shoulder. If I do that, then the head pinches forward. So you want to open the arms to the position that you can sustain and still manipulate the arm bone. So much words. Okay, here we are. On your inhale breath, palms rotating downward, humerus, left and right, rotating in the shoulder. On your exhale, rotate up and feel muscles behind the shoulder and inside the back of the armpit. Inhale and exhale. 2 more. One more. Now this should make your rotator cuff feel fatigued, but it should not make your neck feel crummy. With the fingertips up, reach just an inch or 2 higher using your deltoid, not using your neck. And then exhale, pull the elbows down using the muscles again under the back of your shoulder and inside the back of your armpit. Lift up a little bit. It's your deltoids, guys. And exhale, pull down, serratus, lats, lower traps. 2 more. Lift up and pull down. We're not going to do this forever, I promise. 1 more. Two choices here. You can either extend the arms to the side as we continue through spinal rotation or spine twist, or you can bring hands together at the center of the chest. Deltoids working, neck soft, arms either lengthened or resting gently. We exhale and twist a little. Exhale, twist more. Exhale, twist to the end of the range and inhale, return. Exhale, twist the other way. Don't move your legs or scooch your sitting bones. Exhale, twist. Exhale, twist that final time. Grow tall. Release. Continue 2 more times across the sides, twisting. Twisting more. And twisting most. We got it. Again, across the other side. And when you've done your last time to each side, we should be finishing that final set now. Then you can rest your arms. From there, we're going to lie onto the backs again. Minimal or no head mat. We'll move into a couple of shoulder bridges for a couple of reasons, but really to refine stability through neutral posture and to reactivate the back of the hips and the thighs. So once you're lying on your back, you can put the block between your knees or between your ankles. And then we'll go ahead and bridge the hips upward, maintaining neutral posture. I say it probably every time, and I'm sure it gets tiresome, but as you press the hips upward, and we can Kegel, exhale, do that now. Before you reach the full extension, make sure that as you intensify the work of the core to support your posture, you're not also building tension in the low spine or in the sacrum. Don't squash the pelvic halves against the sacrum, and don't press through the low back. Pull from the abs away and up as you press down through the bottom of the feet from the back of the legs. At the top, inhale, your glutes are working, but your spine, your low back are fine. And then exhale, squeeze the block and lower the hips. We do want to stabilize the 2 pelvic halves as they travel down and up. We do 2 more. Prepare here with an inhale. And then exhale and press up. Focusing on your center, on your lower body, and feeling ease in your neutral posture. Keep the connection in your midsection. So there's no break. There's no feeling of Your feet are down there, your head's up there, and nothing's connecting in between. Inhale and exhale, lower. As you do your final repetition, pay a lot of attention to the action of the hips into extension, coordinating that with your core on the way down as well. That's it, guys. When you've lowered, please roll over onto your side. Keep your knees bent. And we're going to do our clamshell motion and a little bit of stuff for side legs, side of the body. Yeah, we'll see where this builds. So we're on the side of the body. We've got our knees stacked, our feet are together. I'll try and get an angle where you can see that. Have your top hand on the crest of your pelvis and make sure your tail isn't wagging up or down, but is on a straight line below the rest of your spine. Inhale here, and then kegel and exhale and find the outer part of your thighs, your rotators, as you lift the top leg away. Inhale and let that work subside slowly so the leg doesn't just crash down, the knee lowers gently. 4 more, exhale. And inhale, lowering the knee. You're exhaling to lift the top knee away from the bottom knee. The feet remain together, the spine remains neutral. And inhaling to lower the top leg. Last 2, because you know how this goes, make sure that your gaze, your head position is neutral on the top of the spine. Here we go. When you finish your last one, stretch the legs down below you, making a completely neutral spine into the neutral hips, into the stretch of the legs. Point your toes. Top hand can be there either on the front of the crest of the pelvis or on the floor in front of you. And then on your inhale breath, we'll lift the top leg up. Inhale. Flex the foot and exhale, pull the leg back down. Point and lift the leg. Feel a continuous support for the extension of the hips. And then exhale, flex and press. Feel support for the extension of the knee. The inner thigh is active. 3 more. Inhale, point and lift. And then exhale, flex and press. Last 2, can you feel the coordination of your hip extensors with your core and not lock the movement of the leg? Last 1. When you lower the leg from the last one, keep it floating a little bit. Put your hands on the floor in front of you so you can bend your bottom knee just a smidge, creating a wider base of support so that we can swing the leg forward and back. Hand returns to the crest of your hips, perhaps, and inhale, you swing the top leg forward. Exhale, point through the foot, and take that leg into extension. Do 4 more. Inhale, flex foot, swinging the leg forward. Exhale, pointing the foot, swinging the leg back. Feel the coordination internally of the core with the work through the back of the thigh and hips and the sides of the waist. When you've done your last couple, lower the top leg down and rest for a moment, bending both knees and catching your breath. We're going to roll over to the second side and do the same sequence of 3 exercises. Core has a large role to play in sacrum stability, pelvic stability, low back stability, as well as the rest of it, obviously. large role to play in balance. We'll start here with the knees bent as we get ready for our clamshell exercise. Hand on the crest of the hips or maybe lightly on the floor, neutral spine. Inhale to prepare, then Kegel and exhale, lift the top knee, rotating externally in the hip. Inhale, glide the knee back down, not crashing, not losing your balance, and do 4 more, so a total of 5 repetitions. Feet remain together. A nice dynamic movement through those rotators. Right, and you don't have to lift the leg very far, especially if you're nursing an injury or you've got difficulty with that leg. You keep it gentle, and with the movement, put just a little bit of blood flow, a little bit of elasticity in the joint. When you finished your last one, stretch your legs out below you and take the neutrality of your spinal posture down into your hips and your legs. The knees are straight, the toes are pointed. We're ready for our single leg lift. Inhale, bring the top leg up, and then exhale, flex the foot and pull the leg back down. We have 5 total here as well. Inhale to lift with a pointed foot, exhale to lower with a flexed foot, applying all the elements of core to the movement. As you begin to relate the work of the back of the hips and the thighs, with the lower legs through the flexing and pointing of the foot, with the inner thigh and the quads through the extension of the knee. Approaching the end of our set, as you lower from the 5th one, instead of resting the leg all the way down, hover it in space and keep the foot flexed. Hand to the ground for a moment as you bend the bottom knee and establish a stable base. And then our final movement, on inhale, we kick that flexed foot forward. Point the foot, and on exhale, take it back. 5 total here as well. Yes, good, you guys. When you've done your last one, inhaling forward, flexed foot, exhaling back with pointed toes, rest the top leg down and catch your breath. So our grand finale, we're going to use those hip extensors with core, with obliques, with shoulders, and do a plank. So you can choose to do this on the ground, or I'm going to get up, right? Or against a wall or against a countertop. You want to work in a position that challenges you, but doesn't make it impossible for you to find the subtleties of all the muscle groups, the connections, the work we're doing, right? If you're on the ground, that's fine. I'm going to change my camera angle a little bit here. I'm going to use my dresser top and lean into that, so I'll be slightly out of arm's reach. You want your legs to be neutral underneath you before you reach forward for the dresser. And if you're on the ground, you can stretch your knees back one at a time. Standing on your feet in plank, right? So I'll do the standing up and then I'll show you the one on the ground. We're going to inhale and bend the knees if you're standing. And exhale and stretch the legs. We do that 2 more times. Now if you're on the ground, you'll also do that. You'll inhale and bend the knees, dropping them to the floor. And exhale and straighten the legs. Yeah. This is just to make sure we've got the back of the legs engaged. That last time, once you've done that, maintain the position. And if you're on your feet, or if you're standing, go ahead and lean into the surface you're finding for support. If you're on the ground, you're already in a plank and you're probably saying, please just breathe and let's get this over with. If you're standing upright, bend your elbows a little bit. We're here for about a minute and we're about 20 seconds in. So finding all the elements of core, all the elements of posture, working through the shoulder girdle, but minimizing the drama there, working through your lower abs, your hips, without irritating your low back. Feel the legs firmly connecting the feet into the ground, and the support of ground generating upward through your spine as you exhale into length. Integrating your ribs so that your shoulders are also part of the picture. One more inhale and exhale. And then come off of your countertop or wall for a moment. If you're on the ground, go ahead and relax down. So we finished with a set of 6 push-ups. You can do this from the ground. You can do this against your wall or countertop. Take a moment to catch your breath, roll your shoulders, and then make your position right off the bat, stepping back into plank or leaning forward onto your surface. Just once, lift the heels forward, sliding them in front of the toes or up, and then slide them back down, reaching for ground or centering them over the toes if you're in your plank on the floor. On your next inhale breath, bend your elbows. Kegel, exhale, and push away. A total of 5. Inhale, release openness across the top of the shoulders, length through the sides of the neck, and then exhale, core, work through the back of the hips and legs as you work through the back of the arms. A total of 6. You continue on your own timing. And when you've done your last one, if you're on the ground, sit back into shell. If you're standing, you can pull back away from your surface and squat low into the hips. Standing, shift your hips side to side slowly. On the ground, walk your hands to one side and then the other. And then centering from wherever you are, pause for a moment, inhale and exhale. Take a breath in, and on the next exhale, stack your spine up, a vertebra at a time, unfurling until you're upright, either over your feet or over your hips. See the space in front of you. Breathe in. Relax into a sigh as you breathe out. One more of those if that felt good. Good. And that is it for today. Nice work, you guys.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.